All right, all right. We are back in beautiful Belmont, New Jersey. I have a very special guest on. I have Chris Church from PCS. Chris, how are you today?
I'm good today, man. I appreciate you having me on.
You got it. Chris and I know each other from networking. We went to a Blue Claws game with Vantage together. We've been to K-Chev events as well as 3C events. And then also, on top of that, I'm involved with a group of core trusted guys and Red Bank, and Chris is a member there. So when I walked in the first day and I saw Chris, it was a very familiar face. Ryan, Anthony Lebecci, Dan, Joe B, they've all been on the podcast. So today was Chris Church's day to come on. Thanks for coming on.
No, man, I appreciate it. I was looking forward to it.
Yep. So you have we have similar businesses where, everybody thinks we're the same in IT, as they say.
Yeah, under the umbrella.
But we fall under the IT umbrella. But you are more of the IT guy, and I am a website guy. So, and I mean, how long have you been doing this?
I've been in IT since I was 17, so we're looking at well over 15 years, and my business itself I've been doing for about 5.
Awesome. So you started in IT, always liked IT, like
it's
just
funny.
Had a knack?
It wasn't even a knack per se. It was just one of those things. I was working at ShopRite as a kid, and my buddy, who his dad was in IT, was working for a small mom and pop IT shop in Brielle. And I just thought that was way cooler than scanning groceries. So I got an interview with them, and that was it.
I would agree. That probably is, So now you're at this small shop in Brielle, and you're just kind of learning break fix, tech support.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know much. I mean, I was technical just from growing up with it,
Yep.
and I was helping build computers, simple stuff, and grew my knowledge a little bit there. Kind of outgrew that. Company started to take a turn where, I couldn't be full-time anymore, so I ended up getting a job actually at the Geek Squad. So I was there for about 5 years, moved my way up the chain, and the next step was kind of moving out of the tech and moving into like store managers, which really wasn't for me. So I ended up hopping into a job up in Piscataway on their help desk. It was an ergonomic office furniture company that had 1,500 employees globally. So it was a really lot of exposure to different technologies. I grew up there, went into kind of like senior system administrator, and my goal was always to maybe go up into the C-level suite. And I realized as we went on and on, it wasn't for me. You really step out of the tech, you don't get to kind of interact anymore.
You become more of a management guy.
Yeah, and
less about the technology.
Yeah, and I love managing people, helping people grow, but it just wasn't for me. So I was talking to you about before, I hopped into a nonprofit that was in Eatontown, a little bit closer to home when I had my first daughter, and really was a gut check move. I wanted to move closer to home. It was a good opportunity. The money was okay, but just the growth wasn't there. Like that's a second life job that a lot of people take after their first career.
That's a second act. Because I think there's limited capacity to grow, as well as there's limited money to make and earn, as well as they don't really have the demand for the services that you're probably trying to seek at that level.
Yeah, and really what it was, those are great places for people who live that C-suite life, and maybe they want to take the last 10 years, take a little bit of a step back, enjoy a little bit more time with their family, and they're able to give that discount to the nonprofit, but still give them a long career of expertise that these nonprofits definitely have and need. But yeah, I ended up taking that and kind of realized I needed to take a pivot. Wanted to start my own business, maybe moonlight, start something. And Anthony Mongeluzzo, who's the owner of PCS, I've worked with in the past, and I connected with him over dinner just to kind of pick his brain. He's in South Jersey, and a couple weeks later he called me up and was like, hey, I think you could do it on your own, but you want to partner up and kind of help back you up. So I did that, jumped on board January of 2020, had a little bit of a delay because of COVID, but we opened the office October of 21, and the growth has been tremendous.
That's great. And I think that there's more and more need for a company like yours these days, because there's less you could do on your own. Like, it's not something where I feel like you could do a lot of your own repairs anymore. It's too technical.
It really is. I mean, with anything, really companies that we'll see come along that are maybe like 10, 15 people, never had an IT person before, it's simple things. Like I had a roofing company I worked with the other day. They've been around for a few years. I'm like, hey, we keep getting these email bounce backs. And I did a quick lookup, and their SPF record was wrong. They didn't have a DMARC or DKIM set up, which now with email, a lot of providers are rejecting if you don't have those things. So it's becoming more technical, where you definitely need some assistance that has the expertise.
Even too, like, I feel like, and we implemented this not too long ago, the email security. Like, like and what gets quarantined and what comes through. For years I just let it go, and I was like, you just hit the delete button. But for me, what made me change my thought process on that is, as you have newer team members that aren't as savvy and aren't looking, and they're like, oh, you got a spoof email, and then all of a sudden they click something, and you have a bigger problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where people start to realize, like, it's not just you anymore, right? You're adding people, you're adding employees who maybe don't know and aren't as skilled or experienced as you are, so these tools make it easier. I mean, you talk about the spoofing. How many times I see companies hire somebody and within the first day they get a spoofed email from the owner of the company asking to go buy gift cards. And it's just, if you're not doing that training during onboarding and getting them the tools to prevent that, you're going to come into a problem.
I had a guy who bought gift cards once.
Most people do. Yeah.
What's funny is, like, I said to the guy, he's such a smart guy too. I go, "You fell for that?"
Yeah.
And then I go, "Did it say Tom from Wingman Planning?" He said, "No." He said, "No." It said whatever. And he gave me some weird Gmail. So how do they? Let's just hit on that. How do they know that you set up a new email address?
So it's most of the time it's LinkedIn. So it's people that are putting that they started a job on LinkedIn. So they're scavenging that and then realizing that you're the owner because it's on LinkedIn. So that whole tree's there, and then they just hit them up. I had somebody from a minor league baseball team that we support that they were like, how did they do this? Like, they started within a day and they got a text message or an email, but they just have those alerts.
So they're going through LinkedIn.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I learned something new today. All right, so they're going through LinkedIn. People say, "Oh, I started a new job." They figure out their email address,
which is pretty simple,
Yep.
right? Like, most companies have a similar cadence. So
Yep.
if they find yours, most likely it's first initial, last name. Not hard to figure out.
Wow. All right, and that's how the text happened too.
Yeah, I mean, phone numbers again. I mean, how many times do you get BS calls or texts throughout the day?
I hate those BS texts.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, our numbers are sold everywhere, so
Yep.
it's not too difficult. And even if they had 5 or 6 of them where they think it, they'll just send it to all 5 and just hope it. Again, spamming out.
And now, do you feel that these spams are from the U.S. or outside the U.S. or both?
I think it's mostly outside, but where people are getting, where issues are happening, not even from that, but from email compromise, is they're just utilizing VPNs. So one thing that we used to be able to monitor, just kind of stepping back in the email world, is, if an email is being accessed from Russia, like, block it. So we put conditional access policies like that. But how simple is it for you to VPN into a server in the U.S. and access it from there? There's so many free people do that to watch streaming. As you know, Netflix, they have different movies in different countries that you can access. All you have to do is hit a VPN, and it shows that you're coming from there, and that's that.
So it's getting trickier.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting. The tools that we utilize to make our lives easier is making it easier for the threat actors in the ways that they can access it. So you got to be on top of your game and have somebody in your corner.
So I totally agree with you. So definitely think about Chris and companies like Chris, because I do believe that that exact thing. I don't think that as the average person, and again, a lot of the small businesses, and again, you deal with some small business, but you also deal with some mid-sized companies. But on the smaller side, like, they're running their business, they're running their pizzeria, they're running their boutique. Like, they're not sitting there like with an admin that's like looking at this stuff. Like, the owner is usually the admin or the assistant of the company, which again doesn't make them a computer admin.
No, I mean, that's so one of two things when we gain a client. It's either the company's gotten large enough where they finally realize that Betsy at the front desk shouldn't be doing the IT anymore.
I love it.
And then the other piece is, a company that's large enough that's working with a company and they're just, unhappy. Usually people start to see it around the 10, 15 employee mark where they start to need it. I work with companies that are smaller because they're a little bit more understanding of the need. But you got to look at it from, most of our clients at a minimum are spending $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So you have a company that's never spent anything, now has a $12,000 a year addition that maybe they don't think it's worthwhile because they haven't had any issues yet.
Yeah, until that first person hits that phishing email.
Yeah.
And hits the server.
With anything else, it's once pain is identified. The amount of times that I've had conversations with people and there's been no follow-up from them, but then there's some pain and then they're hitting my phone.
Yeah, and all that pain happens like Friday afternoons or on the weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean,
or in the evening?
it's always that way. I mean, we use security software to monitor our clients' computers and servers, and listen, there's only so much we can do, right? You can put 20 locks on your door, but people can still break in.
Sure.
So there's those additional measures of security software, EDR, endpoint detection and response that we utilize that will lock systems down when it sees these types of movements.
Yep.
And most of the time, they're trying to drop a bomb at like 5 a.m. on a Sunday or 8 p.m. on a Sunday because they know nobody's going to be in the environment, and it will give them a longer time in it.
It's crazy, creepy, and
Yeah.
frustrating at the same time. Especially, again, as a business owner, there's so many things you have to do, like not to deal with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, as a business owner myself, there's
Yeah.
so many different things that I need to get out of the weeds with myself.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine if that was part of it as well. I mean, we have an internal infrastructure team because
Yep.
obviously we can't be monitoring our own systems. We don't have the time for it. So we have technicians that we dedicate to our internal systems and protection.
It's crazy. So let's kind of step back out of that part of it. But so you started 5 years ago, and I know that you've had some real good growth along the way. So what has kind of gotten you? Because you're not the guy. You're trying to be the guy that's not working in the business every day, but
Correct.
working on the business, and that's that age-old
Yeah.
thing that we all want to do. And come Friday afternoon at like 4:30, we're like, we could do this, and then come Monday morning, we're all back in it, and
I know.
we're hustling and we're pushing
Yeah.
and we're doing, and our phones have gone off 25 times. So like, what has but I think what I like about your operation is you have that back end support through Anthony
Yeah.
and his organization. So some of the processes that you don't have to deal with.
Yeah, or we can lean on, right?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, my office is about 7 people in total, but the company is 250. So
Anthony's
overall between all the locations, we're
it's
about
250.
250-ish,
And
right?
you have, so good. So you have a nice team. And where are you, in Red Bank?
I'm in Red Bank. Yeah.
Perfect. Red Bank, Monmouth County, for those that don't know. So you have 7 guys there. Been there since 21?
Yeah. So since end of 21. So
Okay.
yeah, we just got just about 4 years there.
Awesome. And now, so some of those administrative tasks or the things that don't need to happen at your office, you can just send down to South Jersey.
Yeah, so or even backup, like you and I were talking about that email migration project that we were doing before. I don't have the time to do it right now, and one of my engineers is just not skilled or hasn't done it before. So I was able to lean on one of the engineers back in South Jersey to get it done, which that might have sat for a month or two longer if I couldn't do that, which is super helpful to get done before the client's busy season.
That's great. So now, how are you trying to take a step back from the client and from the technical and work on growing the business?
It's a great question. I'm still in the midst of it.
Okay.
I definitely have not perfected it. There's weeks where I feel like I've done it, and then there's weeks that I feel like I haven't done anything. But it's just trying to identify the right people on my team. So, over the last 5 years, I've had a couple good hires, a couple that didn't work out. We've all done that. But I have one guy, Tom, who I hired. He's one of my first hires that I knew kind of off the bat that he had a good technical skill set, but he was organized, and I thought that he could be a good supervisor. And that would be a huge lift off of my shoulders. So I promoted him to supervisor about a year ago. And now really what my next identification is I really need somebody who's very technical, because I'm still probably the most technical person on my team, where it's good to keep the knowledge, because when I'm meeting with a company that maybe has an internal IT guy and they want to outsource, I can chop it up with them and I can stay up with the latest technology, but I can't get stuck in the weeds, right? So trying to identify that person that can kind of get me another step back is my next big leap.
And I think that's important because, again, you want to be able to talk the talk, but you also, there's many times, and again, as time has gone on, I have hired some of these people, and I'll say, listen, let me get you on a call with Tony, let me get you on with Jenna. Jenna runs all of our social media. She knows more than I know. Especially when you're looking at the ads market. I have a guy named Ennis who handles our ads, but when you get into ads, there's so much complexity in the pay-per-click and the social ads, and what how the targeting can go. My first thing is let me get them on the phone real quick, and we'll talk about it. Just because, again, when you run the company, you can't know everything about everything. No. But my feeling is people that want to hire that person, it's not sustainable. I got to keep up with the trends while I got to keep servicing your account, while I have to meet new people, while I have to hire. It's impossible. And I think one thing small business owners do is they rely on their guy. Like,
Correct.
I'm their wingman. You're their guy.
Yep.
Let me just text Chris. Let me just, it happens all day, every day.
Yeah, so it happens to me a lot. Really what I try to do, we have like a dedicated support line that you call into, and as soon as you hit the receptionist, you tell them where you're calling from. Hey, I'm calling from Wingman. They know that Red Bank supports you. They route you right there.
Yep.
So I try more and more with my clients that love to text me. Like, listen, you'll always have my phone number, right? I want to be accessible to you. But at the same time, like, if I'm driving to a podcast and you call me with an issue, I probably can't help you for at least 2 hours.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you a phone number to call. And I think once they start to realize those individuals are going to help them faster than you, they're going to start to go that route.
That's why I brought on account managers years ago, because, again, people would be like, oh, just, they would call my front desk, and Kristen would say, he's in meetings, he's got meetings all day. They'd be like, just have him call me at 6 or 7 tonight. And again, then you're like, but on the same side is, the problem could be fixed 4 hours ago.
Correct.
Which from a business standpoint, I want them to have great service, and I want them to be fixed 4 hours ago. On the other side is, they're willing to take that call at 7 o'clock tonight, but also I have to now make that call.
Correct. After working 8 hours.
So I've now gone home, eaten dinner with my wife, and said, oh, just give me about a half hour. I gotta deal with this issue real quick. And it's like, but then I have to write it up, get it to the team, for them to perform in the morning. We just lost 24 hours. Like, if there was something important, I don't want the client to be out for 24 hours.
No, I agree.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. I mean, I see that often enough as well. Like, people that have an IT company that's a one-man shop.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it. Like, unless you're going to say, hey, I'm going to have a fixed amount of clients and that's it, sure. But there's no growth
There's
capability.
no growth. At that point, you just
go
got a
work
job.
for somebody.
Go work for somebody. It's easier. Or that's the kind of client that's a good takeover client and acquisition, like for a company like yours to acquire.
I see it often. I mean, there's been a couple of those cases where they're like, listen, we love the guy. He's a good dude and all this, but I'll call and be like, hey, can I call you back in an hour? And they're down now, or he's not available to come on site, so he's walking them through, crawling under the desk, and they're not happy.
Especially in your world more than my world. Like, my world, if they need something designed, they could wait an hour or two. In your world, they've lost internet, they've lost their email. Yeah. Like, they have to. Like, I wouldn't expect that one of my employees is going under the desk and doing something that's not what I hired them to do.
No,
I hired the IT company.
I'd be frustrated as a business owner if my vendor was trying to utilize my employees to do work they should be doing.
It's interesting. I helped a client a while back, help them with their IT. I helped them find an IT provider. A friend of mine, client, and the company came in all guns blazing. We don't make employees do that. And the first thing they did was, oh, can you have so and so just check the internet? And I was like, didn't they just hire you not to do that?
Yeah.
It's crazy. In their sales pitch, they use that.
But that's a disconnect too, and that's honestly that's a pain point that I have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pitching the business as I expect it to be, but on the other side of the coin, all right, now we're hiring people, right? But those people are never going to do the job as you do, and that's fine because it's just not as
80%.
Passionate to them. 80% is your hope.
Did you ever read
yes.
Dan Martell?
Yes.
80%.
You hope that it's 80%. But sometimes I'll see tickets and notes and I'm like, guys, like, what are we doing? Like, come on. Like, that's not what we do as an offering to our client.
The hard part is when you're a small business like myself, like you, every customer counts, every lead and referral counts. And again, when you see those tickets, when I see a job that's, not to the same spec that I would build it to, I say, guys, like, they don't have to hire us. They could use anybody. And especially in the world of AI, like, service is king.
Yeah.
Like, we can trump all with service, but we have to have the service.
There's a million of both of us out there, and they're all going to offer a similar product.
And they could all do it cheaper than we can.
Correct.
It's a race to the bottom. If you're going to, only compete, I'm not saying go out there with $1 million offering.
No.
But go out with a fair offering. But so if you can't build it on service, I don't know what you can build.
Agreed, because I'll never be the cheapest. I know that. I go into plenty of bids where I know I'm going to be middle of the pack. But what I pitch and what I push is that it's going to be our service. We're 24/7. You pick up the phone and call us. You're not getting a, automated assistant. You get a live person. They direct you to a live technician. You're never going to be told, hey, there's no technicians available. Put in a ticket.
Yep.
If you need help right now, you're going to get somebody on the phone to do so.
So now, your 24/7, is that out of the South Jersey?
Yes, so my team does it. So that's what's not, obviously there's less call needs, right? So that's the benefit of it as well, is all the offices kind of share an after hours service. So
That's great.
we all do have on call. So each office, because obviously clients can be, if you haven't worked with a client before, it could be difficult. So if the after hours team hits a wall, they have an on-call person from each office to call to get over the finish line. But I would say 95% of the time they're able to handle it. Something simple, something easy. But yeah, it's honestly phenomenal. Like I was telling you before, we had a client that had a breach through a vendor. So it was a third-party vendor that wasn't patched correctly that ended up getting into the environment, and our tools identified it and shut them down. But I got a call at 4 a.m. on a Sunday that there was a critical incident in the environment. We took action, we looked at it, and we identified that there was no data extracted, nothing was encrypted. We were able to still get forensics involved to make sure there was no backdoors put in place. But without that, who knows what would have happened? So
it's scary. Like, it's also scary, like, if you lose access to your own stuff. It's like a break-in of your house. Like, it's scary when somebody else is somewhere where they shouldn't be, and they invade your privacy. They invade your computer. I've talked to people along the way, and they said that some of these guys that try to steal emails, they're in your system for like weeks.
Yeah.
Before, like, they're learning how you write emails, they're learning how you do stuff.
They're watching threads. Like, I mean, the big people susceptible to that type of email fraud is like title companies, because they handle all the wiring back and forth, right? So a lot of times they'll hang out, watch transactions, and then what they do is they'll put email rules in place. So once they're ready to take action on something, they're going to put an email rule in place so that all email responded to is going to trash or just somewhere not visible. That way they have a longer time in there before things are identified. So what we started doing more and more is there's now tools that you can integrate into. Right now it's only Office 365. They're trying to get it for Google Workspace. But it's essentially like a SOC, right? Like a Security Operations Center, ingesting all the logs from 365. And it's able to take those automated actions. So if it sees one of those rules in place, it will lock out the account. If it sees a weird login from a weird location, it will lock out the account. So again, it's not 100% preventable, but it's more tools to help you protect yourself.
I remember the first time a client, and again, my 2 and 3 people clients, like, a lot of times we'll help them just get the 365.
You've told me that, yeah.
And like, because they're not gonna,
they're just too small for most IT companies.
They're too small for a company like yours, but they don't want to have Gmail.
Yeah,
account.
they want to brand it.
Like, I'll get them in, and more times than not, it's more of a pain in the ass, because then something happens. I remember the first time I saw a rule, and the guy's like, I'm not getting email, and I'm like, this is years ago, and I'm like, can't be. And I called GoDaddy, because that's where it was purchased.
Yep.
And they were like, we think we know the issue. And I was like, they said, go check the rules. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was blown away. And I was like, and then when I saw the rule, so now, like, anytime someone tells me they have an issue, first thing I say to them is just go check the rules. Like, because that was, like, it was crazy. Or, like, if an email from me could go through, but an email from you couldn't go through, because they've changed the rule on Chris at
just a specific person they were maybe targeting, yeah.
But I think that in a way they're really smart with the title companies, because again, I think a lot of them are small operations. They don't have a huge team. They don't have maybe an IT provider. And what was it? Betsy at the front counter.
Exactly, Betsy
is the one who's like controlling it, and that's I could see that totally happening.
Yeah.
And and it's I don't know. It's nuts. I don't know how every business that's in that financial space doesn't use a company like yours and tries to still do it on their own, because it's too risky.
Way too risky. And it's becoming more and more now. I mean, you are seeing more of the title companies that are even smaller get something or somebody. Yeah. What's nice now with some of these financial institutions that are small, most of the dealer brokers they deal with actually offer like a full IT suite to them, which is great because they have so many different compliance aspects that not all IT companies, it's not something that we super specialize in just because there's so much compliance around it. But a lot of those dealer brokers will offer those suite of services to allow, which is huge, yeah.
So, and where do you see IT going? Like, you see, like, with these hackers and the fraud, like, especially with AI, because I think you could impersonate even easier.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many different things. So I don't know if you remember, like, there was a big, I won't say the name, but there was a big casino hack a few years ago, and the way that they got in wasn't through a vulnerability, wasn't through a backdoor. They called the help desk and said that they were the CTO or one of the high-level staff members and got their password reset, right?
So no two-factor authentication.
Well, no two-factor, which is a bigger problem. What they were doing there, I didn't get all the details. But one thing that like we're doing now with AI is if you call in as a client, like, hey, I forgot my password, we have to call you back on your listed phone number, not the one you called in on.
That's great.
Right, to make sure that it is you. With all AI and the voice ability now, like people can call in and sound like me. So it's interesting. From our business perspective, we're definitely leveraging AI in a more fashion of more just to get data, right? We're again talking back to being live. We always want to be a live person. We don't want to send somebody to a chatbot. I think that's even though that's what a lot of the companies are doing now, because chatbots can integrate and really fix your issue based off what you type. But again, I don't think that's what they're paying us for, right?
Yep.
So I don't think we'll ever go that route. We always want to be there for the client. But I think AI is going to continue. I mean, we've been doing automation for years, the ability to, deploy applications and things with a single click of a button to make things easier so we're not going to computer to computer. But it's interesting. I mean, I was actually just I was down in AC with Anthony, and I asked him, I was like, what's your 5-year plan? He goes, we're in technology, man. I'll give you a year or two. That's at most, because it's going to change. Yeah. Like, you can't really think too far out because there's most likely it's going to be completely different a year and a half later.
And I think you just have to stay adaptable.
Correct.
And adapt. Go through the changes and make them and pivot when needed. Because again, we don't even know the needs for some of our clients in 2 years.
Agreed. You don't know what their growth. They may completely change, and now they're doing something completely different than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy with the AI? Kind of a little side note. So one of the guys did a video for me because they were like, "Oh, let's just test it, see how videos go, because could we produce more videos quicker?" And my team knew that we did it. I sent it around. I sent it to my mom, who knows me very well, right? She knows me for 47 years of my life. I sent it to her. I go, what do you think of this video I did today? All they did was, on the AI, I was on a video for like a minute, and then they did a full video for me. She's like, you did great today. I like the way you talked. And I was like, damn.
Wasn't even me.
I told my mom and I told my mother-in-law, like, if someone ever calls and says they're me, don't just agree. Like, call me, call my wife, just to make sure. Because again, I'm on social media every single day. That it's easy to replicate me.
Very much so, yeah.
And replicate my voice as well as replicate myself. Like, it's really crazy. Like, so people have to really get smarter about this. And like, that call that people get that says, "Oh, I was in a car accident, I need $15,000."
It's not even more than that. What worries me is as AI continues to adapt, it's already happening. I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody like, "Oh, did you see that video?" And it's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
Like, people are not looking into things or taking everything with the 30-second video that they see. They do no research.
None.
I mean, a year or two ago, the big thing was people would just read titles of articles, and they would just completely take their conclusion from that title without even diving in. And I think that's going to get even worse now when our attention spans are getting less and less with all of this technology, which is not great for my young daughters. I'm not excited about it, but yeah, AI can, like any other technology, AI can do phenomenal things, but it's also going to be available to do bad things.
Mm-hmm. And that's the hard part. Like, I wish some of these people put their effort into good things. They could do so many better things in the world.
Agreed. I mean, it's actually funny. So we actually have a division of the organization, not under me, but under South Jersey, that does incident response. So large companies, corporations that get hacked and get encrypted will be able to come in under the insurance rider and help them. But what's so funny is if you do pay them the ransom to get the decryption tool, they have a help desk. And you'll call into the help desk and be like, hey, we're trying to decrypt this one piece. Like, it's not working. They'll help you along. At the end, they're like, oh, can you give us a review? Or like, how is your service satisfactory? And what's funny about it is the reason why they do that is it's their reputation with the insurance companies. So when you're working with, if you're a large corporation, you're working with your insurance broker, your lawyers, the response team like us, they'll go through it, be like, oh, this is, ransomware team, XBK. And if you offer them 30% of the ransom that they offered you, there's a 91% chance that they'll accept it. So they have all these statistics, and those ransomware companies don't want a bad reputation because they want to get paid.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
That's
business.
just crazy in
It is
itself.
crazy. I've seen some crazy stuff. It's fun because I was involved with them for a while because of COVID and before we got our office open, so I was helping them on the incident response team. And some of these companies that get hacked, ones you wouldn't even think leverage technology. Like we worked with a chicken farm, and in my wildest dreams, I was like, what could you have hacked at a chicken farm? Well, it was a large chicken farm, and all the chickens got fed automatically by a system that was scheduled by computers, and those were all down. So they now had to go back to hand feeding. So yeah, it's interesting companies that you don't think use technology, but they do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This is wild. I can't wait to, in one sense, I can't wait to see what happens as time goes on. But in another sense, it's a little frightening.
Always just frightening. You just got to be careful.
Yep, and you got to, again, look at the email. Look where it came from. Like, there's so many small little tips along the way. But I like the fact that you say, like, in the onboarding process of new employees, they should know about that.
1,000%. I don't know if you've utilized it. We have tools that are essentially learnings, right, for the employees. It can do two things. It's going to send them, you can create a onboarding security awareness training docket of all the videos and trainings you want them to take, and then we can do quarterly trainings of the latest things to look out for. And then also the really fun thing is you do fake email testing. So you set it up so it's sending out those fake emails as if they were real, and then you're getting a report back on who's clicking them.
And is that a pen test?
So it's not a pen test. It's called security awareness training, right? And there's a lot of different companies that utilize it. We use Huntress, which is also our EDR security tool. But yeah, it's essentially like there's Know4 and a few others that are out there that just give you the access. They're building out the training modules, the videos for them to watch. And I think the biggest part is that fake email, because now we've identified accountants that are clicking on links to, they're entering their credentials for anything, and it's good to identify, because now you know your weak links and the people to focus on within the organization. If you don't know it, you don't know it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what you have to do? You have to talk to Anthony Lebecci, because he does the PEOs and he gets people their benefits. Like, that might be a good connection.
Him and I have talked about that.
Doing some of this training for his clients, because I think that his clients could probably use your service in that regard.
For sure. Yeah, him and I have spoken on trying to collaborate on some other things in that area.
That would
for
be
sure.
Good.
Yeah.
So this was great. This was a fun conversation. I'm glad you came in. As we wrap up today, let people know where they can find you if they want to learn more about your services, want to reach out to you for to do a visit to see how you can help them with their IT.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find our website, which is helpmepcs.com. That will list all of our services and locations. You can reach me. My email, cchurch@helpmepcs.com.
Don't spoof them.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. But yeah, just take a look. You can find me on LinkedIn, Chris Church. I'm the president of the Red Bank office, and reach out to me. We can have a conversation. We can come in and do a free evaluation. Just look at what you have and kind of give you an idea of what things would look like and what we'd recommend putting in place.
Awesome. Chris, thanks for coming in today. This was a great
chat. Appreciate it. Thank you, man.